one to control. Oh, it pongs a bit. Doesn't always smell like this, does it?
It's cleaned regular, Mr. Parkin.
Do you think we ought to take one or two of them in for questioning? I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't an inside job. That one looks a bit shifty to me. Well, that's just a joke, Mrs. Mercer.
No joke. Chickens getting killed and eggs stolen. It's just as important to folks as lose them as brass disappearing from bankers to bank manager.
I thought so. Have you seen this? Looks like a fox has been in here.
Fox would kill hens right enough. Wouldn't take eggs, though. I've been losing as many as a dozen or more a day.
Aye. Well, it could have been a stoat. I've heard that stoats will take eggs home to the young. What happened? The fox was frightened them off laying.
Tain't no fox, no stoat. Someone's been pinching eggs and killing chickens. That's why I come to you.
Yeah, well, I reckon it was a fox. You can see where he's been digging out. And catching foxes isn't police work, Mrs. Mercer.
I rely on selling them eggs, Mr. Parkin. I only got that on my bit of pension.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. It'll have to be in my own time, like, but I'll bring my gun round, see if I can't get him for you.
Oh, well, I can't complain at that. Good of you to give up your own time.
What's this you're doing here, then?
Making handbags. Trying to earn a few shillings. Of course, I'm only learning yet a while, but if I'm good at it, man says he'll give me a contract.
Contract?
I'll make a lot of them.
You do all right then, Mrs. Mercer. You'll be able to open up your own factory. Who are you doing them for, then?
Firm called Stanley Brotherton. Here. Has offices in Market Street.
Oh, I've never heard Stanley Brotherton. I've never heard of a firm of that name before, making handbags in these parts.
Oh, I don't think he makes them himself, no. Got all women doing them at home for him, like.
Mrs. Parkin, sir.
Oh, good morning, Mrs. Parkin.
Good morning.
Thank you, Miss Akehurst. Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
Now, may I ask how you learned about our little scheme?
From a neighbour.
Oh, and is she on our books?
Yes, so she said. Mrs. Mercer.
Mercer? Mrs. Mercer?
Dufton Street, Fickley.
Ah, yes, here we are, Mrs. Mercer. She's only recently started with us.
She was talking to me in the corner shop last night and told me all about it.
And you thought you'd pop along and see me?
Yes.
I'm very glad you have.
She thought it was something I'd be able to do.
Yes, she's a sweet old lady. You know, she reminded me of one of the nuns who taught at the school I went to as a lad. Happy days. Well, Mrs. Parkin, now, what appeals to you about working for us?
Well, I'd be able to do it at home.
Oh, aren't you able to go out to work? Children.
No, husband. I have to run about after him, get his meals on time. Well, looking after him's worse than having children.
Oh, your husband's alive, is he? Mrs. Mercer didn't tell you then.
Tell me what?
Well, we like to think we're providing work for the less fortunate. It's just one of our little rules. We usually only give work out to widows or ladies living alone, the needy, so to speak.
Oh, she didn't say anything about that.
Of course, we occasionally make exceptions. Oh, yes, there are exceptions. And now tell me, are you good with your hands?
Well, I make a lot of my own clothes.
Very nice you look in them, too. Very nice.
Well, if you don't think I'll be suitable, Mr. Brotherton...
Oh, I think you'll be eminently suitable. In your case, Mrs. Parkin, we'll make one of our rare exceptions.
Oh, thank you.
But I don't want to keep on calling you Mrs. Parkin. And I'm sure you have a delightful Christian name.
Beth.
Beth? Oh, it's charming. Has a biblical ring, hasn't it? Well, Beth, we'll get our Miss Akehurst to tell you what it's all about, shall we?
Chief Superblowish, top of his you taking that thing out.
Yes, Ron. Well, that's why I'm taking it out in my own time, doing a favour like.
Oh, you'll be more gainfully employed making a cup of tea than messing about with that thing.
Oh, no. I'm a married man. I found out that there's not much point in paying the pianist and then playing the piano yourself. I'll be doing hotels.
Yeah, and in the meantime, I'm stuffed.
Where have you been?
To Ormsforth.
Hey, all gadding about whilst we're stuck here with our tongues hanging out.
You know where the kettle is, Ron?
He said there's no point in paying the pianist and playing the...
All right.
And what are we going to do with that?
Well, this is for a fox that's been stealing eggs and killing chickens, Beth. What have you got there?
My work. I've got a job.
A job doing what?
Making handbags. And what's so funny? Think I can't do it? Think I'm an idiot?
Is it for Stanley Brotherton?
Yes, it is. How did you know?
Well, I was round at Mrs. Mercer's. She's doing the same thing.
Oh, yes, it was her that told me about it. I thought I'd have a go at it.
Well, why didn't you tell me?
Well, I wanted to surprise you.
Well, what happened?
What do you mean?
Well, did he offer you a contract?
Contract? No.
Did he want you to buy anything?
Yes, he did.
What?
A packet of needles.
Packet of needles?
5 bob.
Or was that all?
Yes. Well, they're for sewing plastic. They're a good buy, though cheap. Come in handy. Why?
What sort of man is he?
Well, he was sort of trying to make out he was a do-gooder, but I didn't think he was, really. Well, I mean, do-gooders always sound sincere, don't they?
Well, in what way was he trying to be, then?
Well, he just said that normally he only gives jobs out to widows or women living alone.
Widows. I.e., women with no men behind them.
Well, where are you off to?
Division, see the collator, see if I can find that out about him.
Well, I thought you were gasping for a cup of tea.
Oh, but look, I'll get one. In the canteen.
4 to 1, second northern wind, 5 to 1, third lead legs, 100 to 7.
Hello, Ray, I wondered if
Wing
you could help
captain,
me.
330, first swing along, 7 to 2, second snake face, 9 to 4 favourite.
Snake face. It's not a horse, it's a pig.
Well, I take it you didn't win.
How can you win if you back pigs?
That's a very intellectual question, that.
Don't seem right, does it? I mean, I work hard, I'm clean living, kind to animals, good to me mother.
Snaps, the same with me and birds.
651 to control, over. Go ahead, 651. Signing off central, I'll be on again at 1500 hours out.
I think it's because we're coppers. Any road, what can I do for you?
You can tell me all you know about a man named Stanley Brotherton.
Oh, if it was a racehorse called Snakeface, I could tell you plenty. Now then, brothers, Brother Ford, Brotherton. Charles Edward Brotherton.
Stanley.
No Stanley, only Charlie. Has he got any form?
I don't know.
Well, what kind of villainy does he indulge in?
Well, I'm not sure yet.
You know, I get hunches about horses. I'm always wrong.
Oh, well, this fellow reckons he's a do-gooder. He gives work to old ladies making handbags at home, widows and such like.
You suspect a con?
Well, widows needing a few bob can be very gullible.
Aye, well, I can check on this handbag caper for you, and if it's put any strokes under another name somewhere, I can get you the details of that, but it'll take time.
Well, I'll see what I can find out about him.
You can always take up handbag making.
God almighty.
Is he all right?
Ah, sleeping like a log.
Well, it wasn't an hour ago, Mrs. Higgins.
Jimmy?
I saw him not long since outside Mrs. Mercer's chicken shed. She'd complained of eggs going missing. I was keeping watch.
They told me we're doing paper round. Has been trying to help out. Has been giving me 4 or 5 shillings a day, he has. Look, Mr. Parkin, whatever our Jimmy's done, it's because he's been trying to help me.
You in some sort of trouble, Mrs. Higgins?
Ah,
Or would you like to tell me about it?
it's not a fair of police. Not been easy. Bringing up 4 children. Not since Tom died.
How come you didn't hear him go out and come back in again?
Well, I must have fell asleep.
You've been up all night doing this?
Every night this week. After. Got to try to get contract finished.
Oh, Mrs. Mercer on about a contract. What's it all about?
Well, if you make 15 bags a week, Brotherton's pay you £10.
What, you find it difficult?
Oh, it's terrible hard. You're lucky to do 7. Or 8.
Well, that's not bad. You'd get a fiver for that, wouldn't you?
No. Nothing.
Nothing?
Ah. Till you make as many as stated in contract, they say you're still a learner. Learners don't get paid.
Oh, that's a bit naughty. So you can keep over what you don't finish till next week, like, and say make 15 in a fortnight.
I have to go to office with bags of material every Monday. They'd know if you was keeping them back.
Oh, they would. Well, it seems to me then they set you an impossible target, so you've got to keep on working and you don't get paid.
Well, it wouldn't be so bad if I hadn't fallen behind with rent.
But you spent the rent money expecting some money from Brotherton's.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that, no. No, it's all because I hadn't references.
References?
Aye. You see, when you finish on the plastic, you start on leather. Well, they say women been taking home leather and selling it. They either want references, else you had to put up the money. Security like.
Well, how much?
£20. Took rent money and children's allowances to find that.
So not only does Brotherton not pay you pay him.
Things have been hard, Mr. Parkin. That's why our Jimmy's been taking eggs.
Well, I didn't actually say I saw him take them.
Well, I'm still 7 weeks behind with rent. They'll chuck us out. Put us on street.
No, they won't. Look, I'll see what I can do to get your money back.
Oh, but I've signed contract, Mr. Parkin, and once you sign contract, there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, look, have you got a copy of it anywhere?
Aye. Here it is.
Beats me why people sign documents like that.
Yeah, it says in here that Brotherton's keep all the monies paid to them by Mrs. Higgins till such time as she becomes proficient. But she's never going to get proficient, so they keep her 20 quid.
Well, she's a mug. While there's mugs, there'll be people to rook 'em.
Mug? Look, Ron, she's a widow with 4 kids trying to earn some extra brass. Of course she's a mug. Perhaps you would be in her circumstances.
Well, don't blame me. I'm not cheating her.
The woman's working all the hours that God sends, and she's not getting paid for it.
Well, it's no good you getting on it wrong.
It's not my fault if they don't read the small print before they sign. I'll tell you something. I bet that'll stand up in court.
There. I've finished. What do you want me to do with it?
Well, take it round to Brotherton's. See what you can find out. But don't let on you anything else but another mug.
Oh, very nice, Beth. Yes, very nice. And you finished it so quickly.
I wanted to see what you thought of it.
Oh, I like it, yes. You're a clever girl. Oh. Now, here you are, my dear. £1, okay?
Oh, thank you. I didn't expect to get paid for it.
What? Didn't expect to get paid?
Not for the first one. I thought it was just a test, to see if I was any good at it.
Well, you are good at it. Oh, yes, yes. This is one of the best I've had.
I was told that while we were learning, we didn't get paid.
Now, who told you that?
A neighbour. Mrs. Higgins.
Ah, yes, Mrs. Higgins. Well, you see, Beth, I have to cater for each person individually, pay them according to their ability.
Oh, I see.
And poor Mrs. Higgins just isn't very good at it. I wish I could have paid her. She's a nice lady, a hard worker, but the end product, it's quite hopeless.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, they don't tell you that part. That's why you don't want to listen too much to the others, Beth. They only tell you their side of the story.
Yes, I suppose they do.
But you're going to do well. You've got a flair for it. Allow me. Would you like a little drink?
Drink?
When I get hold of a good worker, I like to look after them. Make them feel as though they're, a little bit special. And, after all, you are special. Gin and tonic.
Please.
Yes, very special. Now, by comparison with the old darlings I get in here, you're very, very special. Pretty, nice figure. You dress well. And, look how quickly you made your last bag for us.
Only because I sat up all night, Mr. Brotherton. I'd never have got it finished otherwise.
Oh. Shows you're enthusiastic, huh? But, not Mr. Brotherton. Call me Stanley. It's more friendly. Oh, we're going to get along well together. You and I. Yes, I think we ought to work quite, closely together.
Didn't tell you, did I?
What?
My second horse won. If Snakeface had got there, I'd have got a double up.
So?
Aye, would have come to over 15 quid.
You're breaking me heart.
It nearly broke mine. Now then, what about him? Wanted by Shropshire for fraudulently getting shopkeepers and businessmen to subscribe to a non-existent trade directory.
That's not a bit like the description I've got. That could be him.
Stanley Craig. One previous conviction, 1950. For pinching petty cash, fined £20. A warning notice concerning the activities of this man. Bristol police received complaints that he'd engaged people to make plastic raincoats, but he absconded before paying them for their work.
Hey, that sounds like our man.
In Wolverhampton, it was paste jewellery. At Stafford and Sheffield, it was stuffed toys, and at Barnsley, sheepskin jackets.
Now it's handbags. That's him, all right.
On no occasion was any criminal offence disclosed, and no further action could be taken.
What exactly does that mean?
Means that contract folks have signed will stand up in court.
Yeah. So even though we know he's pulling a con, we can't touch him.
Aye. Unless...
Hello, beautiful.
I think I've gone and messed things up.
How?
Well, I got paid. There I was, thinking he'd tell me I'd have to do this and that, just like Mrs. Higgins, but he didn't. And not only that, but I'm to be better paid, and I haven't got to make a stipulated number of bags.
Well, why? And why should he treat you any different to the others?
Well, I think it's because he fancies me.
He fancies you? Well, what happened?
Nothing.
Beth, I want to know what... You've been drinking. Beth. Stanley Brotherton?
Yes, that's it. Oh, well, what do you want? Is it about the car?
No, it's not about the car. I'm Detective Constable Radley. This is Constable Parkin.
Parkin.
We're inquiring about your activities in Fickley.
Oh? What about them?
Well, I've been making some inquiries, and it appears you've been getting people to work for you and not paying them.
Gossip.
Gossip?
I pay what I owe.
Doesn't seem that way, not from what I've heard.
Oh, doesn't it? Oh, maybe it appears that way, but I can assure you it isn't the case.
Mrs. Higgins, who's employed by you, has
Mrs.
informed
Higgins
me...
is not employed by me. She has a contract to supply me with goods at a mutually agreed price. She is self-employed.
She says that she has supplied you with goods, 22 handbags, and she's received no payment.
Ah, now that's because she hasn't complied with the terms of her contract. A contract which she agreed to and signed.
Yes, I've read the contract. It stinks.
Oh. You're an expert on contracts, I suppose.
No, I'm not.
Well, I am. Has Mrs. Higgins made an official complaint against me?
No, she hasn't.
No. And you've read the contract and you realize she can't. Because it's legal. Well, she's a mug for having signed it, mind you, but it's legal.
She's a widow trying to bring up a family.
Yes, well, that's hardly my concern, is it?
You gyp old ladies out of their earnings.
The contract is legal and above board. So perhaps you'll either come to the point or shove off. I'm busy.
Not yet.
Here, you've no right
I've
to
every right.
You don't do much paperwork, do you, Mr. Brotherton?
Well, I've no need. Carry most of it in my head.
Well, what about these?
Handbags, just off to the wholesaler.
And you?
Me?
Where are you going?
I don't
You're doing a
get
flit,
it.
aren't you?
No.
I have a few more questions I'd like you to answer.
I dare say you have. But it doesn't mean to say I'm going to.
Did you, under the name of Stanley Craig in Bristol, employ people to make plastic raincoats for you?
That's one question I'm not going to answer.
So I take it you won't answer similar questions regarding similar activities in Stafford, Sheffield, Wolverhampton and Barnsley?
You're dead right, I'm not. Oh, Lord. But I've never had any bother before. The contracts are legal, I've paid what I owe, and those mugs who haven't fulfilled their contracts can go whistle. So, I mean, that's all there is to it, isn't it?
Not quite. I'd like you to come down to the police office with me.
Oh? What for?
Just routine. Just a few questions. There'll be some other people there.
What people?
It's about some debts.
Well, I've already told you I've paid all my debts.
Almost all. You see, the customs and excise people would like a word. Now, they claim you haven't been paying them purchase tax on the goods you've manufactured and sold. They claim you've rooked them out of £18,000.
No, there's some mistake.
Go and get your coat! You can tell them that down there.
It's all very well, though, isn't it? What about Mrs. Higgins and all the others he's rooked?
Oh, look, I'm sorry, they're mugs. And while there's mugs, there'll always be someone to rook 'em.